Honorable Mnyima.
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking at page 4, where in the submission it was indicated that with regards to the loans, the guidelines stated that the loans were to be comprehensively insured, and loans were issued without insurance on the pretext that the stage at which these loans were to be insured was not clear. So how then does the province intend to recover the uninsured loans in the possibility of any unforeseen calamity by these people? What is the recovery plan? Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Mkombi.
Yes, Chair. Controlling officer, I know probably you were not the controlling officer then when this was happening. I just want to find out where you are saying management wishes to explain that the guidelines that the Ministry of Youth and Sport provided were not clear on insurance. That is on page 4, failure to insure loans, just as a rider from what my colleague here has asked. I want to find out if at all you managed to get hold of the ministry so that they clarify on the insurance aspect. Because you need to insure these loans so that at least even when one defaults, you are able to recover something. So in this situation where there was no clarity, did anybody attempt to ask the ministry in writing? And if any response was given to you, also in writing? I submit, Chair.
PS, you can respond to the 3 questions.
Before the PS answers, may we know who was compiling these files? The audit query refers to clause 9.02 and 3. And you have brought to this committee incomplete guidelines that you have given to us. When you reach 8.0, you end. 9.0 is nowhere. Why have you decided to do that? To prove the same point that the guidelines are very unclear. If you saw me here, PS, I was getting the file. I got my file, there is nothing. I had to get the next file, there is nothing. And the query is on failure to insure loans is based on 9.0 in the guidelines is provided. And when you get to 9.0, it's nowhere. Your appendix ends at 8.0. Where is 9.0? I submit, Chair.
Okay, so PS, you start with the last question.
Thank you very much, Chair and members of the committee. I must, on the onset, apologize on the compilation of the file. The unfortunate thing is that not even me noticed it earlier on, but later on, when I went through the file, I realized that some documents were not there. However, if you allow me, Chair, I have a complete guideline with me here. If I'm allowed, I can still submit.
Members, should we submit it? So you submit through the office of the AG.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry? You can sit.
Pass it. Thank you.
Just pass it. Pass it.
Pass it. Thank you very much, Chair. And coming to the other question, which is the failure to insure loans. If you recall, Chair, you look at our response. The response is that it did not specify at which stage we should ensure that these loans are insured. That is where we are at the predicament. However, in future such cases or such loans as to be insured in order to ensure those who are going to benefit from these loans will be able to pay back the loans. It was the stage. The other question is on the plan.
Order, PS, there's a follow-up question. Point of order. You can switch off your mic.
Madam Chairperson, the question from Honorable Mukumbi was very clear. That if anything is not clear, you sought clarity. You are supposed to seek clarity from the document, the source of the document or the source of a matter. And PS seems to have dodged that issue. Say that, okay, if something wasn't clear, why didn't you seek clarity on the same matter before you could proceed? Why were they in a hurry to issue the loan when they knew there was a condition of insurance attached to the loan? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS, you respond to the question the way it was asked.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, you must realize that some of the cases we are dealing with, they are cases of yesteryear. As from where I stand, this was, I think, a mistake committed by my office for not seeking that clarity. We didn't do that, I must admit.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you very much. On the recovery plan, like we have indicated, that we are constantly in touch with the beneficiaries of the so many loans that were extended, particularly to the youth of the country. There, if you go further, we're going to see the letters that we have written to the ministry after we observed two areas. One, we observed in certain cases, when you come into the nitty-gritties of the report, where we realized that the people who were given these loans were vulnerable, and it would be extremely difficult for us as government to recover the money. We wrote to the ministry to ensure that they conveyed these loans from loans to grants. Number two, it is also very difficult because certain records that we see in our files, they are not very, very specific in terms of who got and who did not get. So, Chair, we are in a dilemma, I must say, as a province. We did not make that. But these are most of these of...
Honorable Mfalali.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, Chair, we appreciate the controlling officer is quite new. But the controlling officer didn't come alone. There are those who were there before him, and they came here for a purpose, to come and answer to such questions, including those who keep records. The people are in charge of finance, the people are in charge of audit, the youth coordinator, and the internal auditor. We want to know. The answers being given by the controlling officer are good answers, but they are not satisfactory. We want the officials who handle these things to answer. What are they saying? The other issue, Chair, is these guidelines that have been given here. I'm still looking for 9.0. It's not there. 9.0, 2, and 3. This guideline that has been given by the controlling officer does not have 9.0, 2, and 3 as referred to by the Auditor General's office. where are the 9.0, 2, and 3? They don't have. We want to see where the insurance, because that's why they are saying they have no clue of what was supposed to be insured, at what stage were they supposed to insure. They are not on this. May we have the ones which have 9.0, 2, and 3? I think the youth coordinator should be able to provide.
We have
the
internal
real-
auditor. We have internal auditor and youth coordinator. They are there. Provincial youth coordinator. They are here.
Yeah. Yes, Chair. But before my officer can come in, this is one point that we had challenges and difficulties in responding to, because it never existed. So, Auditor General would be in a very good position to state where 9.0 came from.
Okay. Auditor General can guide us.
Good afternoon, Chair. I know there were several guidelines, but I think we will try to check for the other guideline which we have on file. Then we'll get back to the committee.
Okay. Honorable Lumai, I thought you were raising your hand. Okay, you can respond to the questions. The AG will get back to us on the 9.0.
Now it makes the whole thing difficult for us. Chair, it makes the whole thing now difficult for us on this failure to insure loans on Northern Province. Northern Province is telling us that 9.02 and 3 never existed. And the Auditor General is saying they have them somewhere. What are we getting? Where are the guidelines? I think we are on this, and these are the queries that we are auditing. So even Auditor General should have these guidelines on standby. They should have had them so that we can use them right now. If we now say we will come back, I don't know when.
No, they are searching. They have the file. It's not like another days now. So maybe we can go to the next question. The questions that we've already asked, the PS can respond while they are checking on their folder. So PS, you can respond to the questions.
Chair, I think I might have missed the next question.
There was a question from Honorable Lumai and Honorable Wamunyima. Maybe Honorable Lumai, you can rephrase your question, and Honorable Wamunyima has found it.
Chair, on the difference coming from funding and expenditure, let me allow the Director of Finance to respond to that.
Director of Finance, you can respond.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The committee may wish to know that this account is an account where we keep funds for various institutions, and the amount that has been spent, which is 16.27, leaves a balance, which balance we cannot touch unless the institution itself, which owns that money, wants to spend that money. So the money is still in the general deposit account, which is the third-party account.
Honorable Mfalali.
Director Finance, could you just guide us? These were monies meant for that particular year, isn't it? And if these monies were meant for that particular year, what was the failure in spending this money? You are holding it, yes, in trust for those organizations that you are referring to. Why were the monies not spent? Because as far as we are concerned, at the end of the year, all the funds that have not been utilized should be mopped back. But you are funded. After being funded, you are keeping the money in the so-called general account, and people have not implemented the projects that were supposed to implement in that particular year. In this case, 2021. Why were people not spending the money? And you, as Director of Finance, you were supposed to make sure that the programs that have been planned in that particular year, or in the year under review, you should have been able to use that money. Why have people kept the money?
Thank you, Chair. The funds that had not been spent, they were meant for various activities, and one of the activities that of the infrastructure, completion of infrastructure. Infrastructure had not been completed, and so the funds related to those infrastructure were not spent.
Yes, Honorable Mfarari.
The question, Director of Finance, is very clear. Why didn't you spend the money for the year under review? Yes, it was meant for infrastructure. Why didn't they use that money to do the infrastructure? Because even, Chair, I see that even in the previous year, you had money that balance brought forward of 3,172,200. These money have a cycle, and they are meant to be spent for that particular year. Why didn't they spend in that infrastructure? What is the problem? Where was the problem?
Honorable Mkosa, you can chip in before.
Chair, there are questions.
Not just on this very matter, maybe there should be a follow-up question.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Finance Director, I would like you to clarify so that I understand. Did you say the money was not utilized because the people were responsible for undertaking the jobs, they didn't reach a stage where they needed to be paid? Is that what you said?
That's a correct position.
Order. Director of Finance, you speak through the chair. Director of Finance, proceed with your response.
Thank you, Chair. We have the contractors that were engaged to construct the structures, and amounts were allocated to those projects. We cannot spend the money if the contractors not executed the function, and so the money remains in the account.
Honorable members, any more question? Honorable Mai's controlling officer, did you respond to Honorable Mai's question?
Chair, he's responding to my question because Honorable Ricardo came in with a rider. Now maybe just a simple one. What was difficult for you to explain in your report as a province to say this money was not spent because of ABCD than just leaving it blank like that? And yet you have good answers. So that's the reason more I wanted to understand why they did not attempt to respond to this first query.
PS, take up the question.
Thank you very much. It is true, we did not indicate here, and I seek your indulgence that in future we should reflect it, because we know that government did not lose any coin.
Controlling officer, you and your team, you should take audit seriously. Some of these matters that you are bringing before this committee, us are not auditors here. These could have been resolved at a point of audit. You cannot be bringing matters that could have resolved at a point of the audit to this committee, because we are not auditors. So can you ensure that your team takes audit seriously going forward? Honorable members, Honorable Wamnyema.
My question has not been answered. I was saying, what is the plan on these loans that have been given without insurance? When the recipient experiences a calamity, what is the plan? What does the ministry have as a plan? The province, sorry, what is your plan? Because as it stands, these recipients have been given loans without insurance. So if there's a damage, how do you recover? That's my question.
Honorable Mkosa.
Controlling officer, in one of your answers, you indicated that you were of a considered view that the government should turn this into grants. Did you write, and if you wrote, did you get any response? What did they say? Because you said you were thinking that since you are in a dilemma, you would prefer that the government just turns these loans into grants because some people have difficulties to pay. Have you gotten any response, or if you wrote, did you get any response? Thank you so much.
PS, take up the 2 questions.
Thank you very much. I think the last part I'll answer. The second part I will throw it to the Director of Finance. Yes, we did. We wrote to the ministry on, I think, once, and a response. We have a response. It must be there. We have written to the ministry when we realized that it would be very difficult for these vulnerable groupings to pay their monies.
Order, PS. This committee doesn't rely on speculations. Anything that you refer to, you have to provide evidence, and you lay it on the table. Can you lay on the table the proof that actually you wrote to the ministry and the aforesaid response is with you?
Yes, Chair. We wrote on 27th January 2022. Appendix 4, 2022, and the response which came from the ministry was on 24th February 2022. And it must be contained in the file.
Now, can you proceed, PS? There's another question.
Which I throw, if you allow me.
Director of Finance, take up the other question.
Yeah, on the steps that we are taking to ensure that the uninsured loan is recovered. As a province, we have made a provision for monitoring exercises where the officers under Ministry of Youth will be required to go and see these people that got the loans and encourage them to pay the money.
Honorable members, is that response adequate? Honorable Mumba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Northern Province Controlling Officer, all the witnesses who have been here over this issue of these loans. I remember in the morning when you were making a submission, you were saying the rules were not clear. I, for one, am an advocate for these monies being channeled elsewhere, because there is no report that we have received of any positive change in these particular people we have been giving government or taxpayers money. And in this particular case, you have even decided to turn a loan which somebody applied for, was able to present a business case for, and based on that, you awarded them that loan. And now, that loan, you're basically turning it into free money. A grant is as good as the free money. You have no other obligation beyond the collection of the money. Now, what I wanted to find out is you are still receiving youth funds. And all the ministries, all the provinces that we have so far asked questions about this have all been saying the rules were not clear. Do you have any evidence of you writing to the ministry asking them to clarify further on the issue of this insurance on the loans? Thank you.
Honorable Mumba, I think that question has been superseded by events. We have advanced. Yeah. Honorable members, any other question? Honorable Wamnyima, and then Honorable Ma in that order.
Mine is a rider to his response. You are saying you have people monitoring. So if the money tells you it's bent in the house, I got a loan, because the loan is not insured, and it tells you the house is bent, and there you are saying you have sent people to monitor. To monitor what? How are you protecting these loans from risk? Because you see, this is an insurance issue. It's got nothing to do with the you need to have practical steps that will get these people to insure. Someone can say, no, I bought a tractor, and the tractor, I was not servicing it, it's damaged. And your people monitoring, how will this help? So practically, director through UPS, the director of finance must explain to this committee what practical steps are being taken, because this is public resources, this is taxpayers' money. It needs to be protected from risk because it's part of the guidelines. So can you be serious with the steps you're taking? Monitoring is progressive. Even money that is insured must be monitored. So what are you doing?
Honorable Mai.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, when you read on page 5, failure to recover loans, the provincial administration is saying that the committee may wish to know that the loan repayments by beneficiaries are made directly to the Ministry of Finance and sports account and not provincial administration account. And the Chair, we are told also that the 11 districts, they don't have Zanaco branches in the northern province, and hence they cannot recover these loans because Zanaco branches are not there. And in the same vein, Chair, the province now has requested for 90,000 in the 2023 budget to help them to monitor. So the short answer I want to understand is, they have Ministry of Youth and Sport in the province, and the Chair, the year under review, it appears the province has not sat with Ministry of Youth and Sport to understand how much money has been recovered. And in the same vein, they are saying that because in the 11 districts, there's no Zanaco branch where these youths can deposit this money. So I want to understand what will be 90,000 for, Director Finance. The 90,000 which they have requested in the 2023 budget will be for, because in the 11 districts there's no Zanaco, and 2, they are saying this money was being paid to Ministry of Youth and Sport. So I just want to understand of what help will the 90,000 kwacha be.
Director of Finance, of course, through the PS. Can you respond to those 2 questions?
Thank you very much, Chair. In the first place, I want to inform the committee that the beginning of this whole thing somehow was not very clear. We expected Ministry of Youth to come on the ground and sensitize us so that we know the way to implement this program. It came abruptly, and as a result, we are giving those explanations as comprehensive insurance not being clear. At what stage should we, should the client, should the beneficiary insure?
Order. Order. Just a bit, Honorable Mfalari. Director of Finance, I think this matter we are going in circles. We are going in circles because even when we are discussing the issue of insurance, at what point the loans could have been insured, it's common sense. You can't issue a loan prior to it being insured. So it's something which is, there's a common practice. You are a financial person yourself. You can't come to appear before this committee and start running around this straightforward question. This committee is laboring. I can see members are laboring on this matter because they know what you, even in fact yourself, you know quite well what could have been the right step to be taken. We asked you a question. Why didn't you seek clearance from the original, maybe the source entity, which is Ministry of Youth, prior to you issuing the loan? Why did you rush into disbursing the loans prior to not being clear to the whole process? This is what the members of parliament, honorable members are laboring on. Can you be to the point? Don't waste the committee's time here. Can you give us, PS, can you give us an appropriate response to that?
Thank you very much. Like you have said, Chair, I think we need to be straightforward. These are loans that were being disbursed at a time when we are approaching an election. As a result of that, there was that political pressure, even on the members of staff, to give these loans by our politician. That's where we missed it as your technocrats. We missed it. And I promised this committee that as government continues facilitating these loans to the youths, we shall take the appropriate measures to ensure that we comply to the guidelines. Coming to the question that, or other two questions that Honorable Mai raised, the 90,000, Chairperson, is meant specifically for monitoring, to monitor those which are appearing in our records. How far have they gone? Despite that they are not paying these monies straight to us, we have an obligation to monitor, to understand what are their challenges, where are they to pay off these amounts that are owing to government. Zanaco issue. This is one issue that we are hearing from the beneficiaries. Some are complaining that they are unable to meet their repayment obligations because there are no facilities in their respective districts. Hence, our proposal towards the end of our answer that maybe government can consider extending this facility to other financial institutions, including mobile operators, mobile money operators, so much that these beneficiaries who are complaining do not have an excuse. I submit, Chair.
Honorable members, follow-up questions? Honorable Amnyima.
Thank you for your elaborate response, Controlling Officer. In light of the fact that beneficiaries are the ones complaining that these facilities are not there, but there are Zanaco agents in all the 10 provinces, including the remotest part. So has your office followed up to go on the ground through internal audit to understand and appreciate that truly in all the districts in Northern Province there are no Zanaco agents? I feel that obviously we can be dealing with an issue where beneficiaries are wantonly disregarding repayment. So is this a factual? Is it factual by and verified by our office that in all those districts there is not even a Zanaco agent? I submit. Yeah.
PS, take up the question.
Thank you very much, Chair. It may not wholly be factual, but in part it could be. And that's why we are saying, given the right tools, if the ministry is financed adequately to make follow-ups on these loans, or be able to understand where the major challenge is. It is true what the Honorable is saying, that Zanaco today has opened a number of branches in terms of agents, and we cannot take that as an excuse. But we are reporting as to what we are getting from the ground. I submit, Chair.
Honorable members, in the interest of progress, we can also attempt questions on irregular issuance of loans to groups with members above 35 years, and even the non-performing loans under agricultural import loans. Let's proceed in that direction. Honorable Mfalari.
Thank you, Chair. Where are the guidelines for agriculture in your submission?
Yes, take up that question.
Thank you. May I throw this to the Youth Development Officer?
Youth Development Officer, take up that question.
Where are the guidelines?
Where are the guidelines?
Thank you, Chair. I have a copy of the guidelines.
Can you pass it over to AG? As the guidelines are circulating, Honorable Mnyima, can you take up the floor? Honorable Mnyima.
Thank you, Chair. Page 6 of your submission, Controlling Officer, we have an issue there. I think this is an issue we've had before with other processes. Awarding a youth empowerment program, and people born in 1967 are beneficiaries, as an example.
Okay.
Now, who was in charge of scrutinizing these applicants? Why do we have people above 35 years, contrary to Youth Empowerment Guidelines of 2020, clause 3.2? We had, in the 6 groups, there were at least 10 members who were above the prescribed age. So through UPS, did you have any officers from the province who were part of this, scrutinizing this? Maybe they can help us understand what happened.
Honorable Mkumbi.
Just as a rider also on the same question, in your response over the same members that were above 35, you are saying the overaged members were not involved in management of the said youth groups. You acknowledge, of course, that yes, they were there. But now you are stating that, or qualifying a statement that, but they were there, but they are not involved. So what was their role? They were just there on paper, or they were to be beneficiaries? And I believe, just like the Honorable has said, this was contrary to the guidelines. What really happened? What was their specific role to be in those particular groupings? Thank you, Chair.
PS, take up the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the committee, if you read my first statement, it is regrettable that these loans were disbursed in such a manner. We realize as an administration that we erred on this one in terms of age. Their involvement was what we are trying to justify here is, yes, they are members of the cooperative, but they were not members of the management team.
Doesn't make it. PS, it doesn't make a difference. Do you understand the question from Honorable Mkumbi?
Yes, I do.
Can you respond adequately to the question?
Yes. Chair. Sorry. Chair, if you read the first paragraph.
On page what?
On page 6 itself, the third. They are saying Youth Empowerment Program Guidelines of 2020, clause 3.2 sub 2 and 4 requires the benefiting groups to have a valid copy of registration certificate and members of the executive to comprise 80% of those between 18 and 35 and 35, and 20% of those who are above 35. So,
continue the statement.
5 years, but were below 35 years at the time they received empowered loan.
Qualifying the statement. That's why I said critically analyze the question from Honorable Mkumbi. And can you proceed to respond now?
Yes, Chair. That's why I say we regret.
Honorable members, I think we're not going to get any better answers on this matter. We have a position as a committee, and I feel like we need to record progress. So we can now move to Honorable Falari. Yes. Okay.
From the people that have accompanied the controlling officer, who were sitting on this, or even the same officials that are from Northern Province, wherever they were at the time of these disbursements, who among them sat on these committees to appraise these projects? But specifically, we want to know from your office, who from the officers that you have come with have sat in these committees to approve? May we know? Thank you.
Yes, take up the question.
Thank you very much, Chair. May I refer that question to the Provincial Youth Development Officer?
Provincial Youth Youth Person, can you take up the question?
Thank you, the chairperson. The people who sat on the committee are some members of the PDCC. They are the ones who were appraising these. The submissions which came from the district were being appraised from the district. From there, they were recommended for approval to the ministry.
What is the composition of the same? Okay, can you proceed, Honorable Mfarari?
Chair, Madam Coordinator, that's not how the whole procedure is. The province, according to your guidelines, the province was supposed to appraise, unless I'm not reading on the same. But your guidelines, when it comes to the first guidelines, it's very clear. After their forms are filled, you can check. They have just taken it away from me. But after, I can actually use maybe even the one which way. After the composition, monitor and evaluation committee, composition, Director Human Resource, Director Planning Information, Chief Youth Development Officer, Senior Youth Development Officer, Senior Purchasing Planner, and representative from CEC. Where is the other one? Okay. A representative from Credit Reference Bureau, Principal Accountant. Yeah, but in your guidelines, you at the provincial level, the youth coordinator sits to approve, and I think there are other provinces that have been here. They confirmed to that they were able to sit. So who was appraising these applications for you to give money?
Coordinator, take up that question through the PS, of course.
Thank you, Chair. I can confirm that we sat on the committee, but the approval was done in Lusaka. Our office, it was just the committee in the provinces, just for recommendations. We scrutinized the documents from the province, from the districts, I mean. Then from there, the province scrutinized the documents and forwarded them for approval to Lusaka.
Coordinator, you know, I've been insisting on one matter. If you said you sat on that committee, do you have any report that you can lay on the table so that we can scrutinize the deliberation of that report of that committee? Through PS, can you take up that question?
Chair, I think if it was outlined in the question, you could have brought the minutes of the sitting. But allow me also, sir, that you know, these questions that are being raised to us, if you even refer to the guidelines, the Auditor General is also quoting wrong clauses. If you look at clause 3, 2, 1 or 2, 2 and 4, they are talking about completely different issues. When we are receiving these, you know, we are at pains. How do we just submit something to suit to what they are raising with us? So, sir, I think I would refer this committee to the specific clauses that is here on objectives. 3.1 is the main objectives. 3.2 is talking about specific objectives. When you go to 3.2, 1 or 2, it is saying to provide skills training to youth in timber processing and beekeeping and providing them with a startup capital. It's completely, you know, a departure. So the Office of the Auditor General equally did not help us as a province. I submit.
Thank you. Before Honorable Mnyima can chip in, AG, I think any.
Yes, I think
can you react to that?
Yes, I've seen what he's talking about, because in fact, right now we're just trying to reconcile with what was issued to them and what we have in the report. So my colleague, I've asked him to go outside and try to reconcile and get in touch with our colleague. Then he will get back, I'm sure, before we disperse.
Thank you, AG. Honorable Mnyima and Honorable Mukumbi in that order.
Chair, as we progress, we take note of the submission of the controlling officer. However, we still need his official, is it youth? Coordinator youth. Controlling officer, what were they recommending to Lusaka, that committee? Because unless if you are alleging that in Lusaka, when you recommend the correct age, it was being changed from Lusaka, and these beneficiaries came from. So really, for us, controlling officer, your officials can't come here without minutes. She sat on that committee. She must come with the minutes so that we understand. Because you see, this is a youth empowerment program. And when you are having a youth empowerment program, the beneficiaries are youths by default. And under the constitution, a youth is below 35. So, and now, the only concern we have, controlling officer, is that people from provincial administration who start to scrutinize applications from the district somehow are detaching themselves from the beneficiaries, who are in most 10 of them were not 35 at the time of application. So our concern really is that if they saw at application that this person does not qualify, was there something written to recommend, to say, this recommendation from the district as the province, we recommend that this person does not qualify? And even as Lusaka is approving, the people at the province should have done due diligence. And that is why, PS, you've inherited this. We're asking those who were there. If they saw this person, Peter Banda, is 39 years old, what is he doing in this form recommended by the district? Want to know, were there progressive steps from the people who sat on that committee?
Yes, take up that question.
Thank you very much. Chair, it must be noted that when a cooperative is being formed, it's not restricted to age. It is a cooperative that is made composing all various of ages. However, on this particular loan, it was specific that it must have the cooperative with just this age group. That's why I'm saying it is regrettable that we did not do that part, Chair. As coming to the minutes still, Chair, I seek your indulgence. Had we been asked to bring those documents, we could have made them available. And, sir, this whole process, if we are to bring all the documentations, I'm sure this room will be too full for us to peruse. I submit.
Honorable Mfarari.
Chair, thank you so much. Chair, through you to the controlling officer. Your friends here have been here. Those who managed to provide what they did, I think their audit queries have been put aside and they made the corrections that were necessary. In this case, I think even as you come, these acquittals of audit queries can be done here based on the information that you provide. Now, you come here, you are bringing copies of NRCs and application forms approved. Which application forms that you are showing that they were approved were actually not even stamped, but we have seen Dr. Piri signing and whatnot in some of these. But the question still stands. Were you following the guidelines? If you are not following the guidelines, what have you done as you come before this committee? Is to provide a satisfactory answer to show that you now managed to correct the wrong that you did by providing or proving to this committee that the forms that the Auditor General is saying were missing, here they are. The certificates, certificate of registration, not even a single certificate of registration is attached here. These are the queries that were raised to the province, that there are no certificates. You have paid people who are overaged at the time of dispersing the amounts of money. It's undisputed. You gave old people, not youths. And even the answer that the technocrats are trying to give to the PS, they are misleading him. These are youth groups, youth cooperatives. Youth cooperatives must be youth cooperatives that have an age below 35. So for you, Director of Finance, to start whispering to the PS that no, no, you are just misleading him. Don't do that. Let's follow what is supposed to be followed. You failed in this area. What you needed to do was to ensure that as you come before the committee, you have provided some evidence, not maybe everything, but some evidence of certificates and corrections that have been made. Unfortunately, it's not here on your submission. Completely nothing. So in this case, that's why you will find we end up saying, go back and redo your item, your files, come back and then again. But Northern Province side, very far. So I think you needed to do justice to your queries. At the moment, the coordinator, youth coordinator, you have not proved that you did something that should have changed the picture of what was on the ground when auditors were there and what is on the ground right now. You have provided these small deposit slips, but where are the other issues or areas which have been queried that you have rectified or corrected? Nothing.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Controlling PS, in this committee, there is nothing like had I known. You come to appear before this committee so that you give us responses to the audit queries. What you failed to provide at the time of the audit, now you are coming to provide answers. There's no way you can say, had we known, could have brought minutes. If the youth coordinator is saying it's not them who approved the loans, I mean, where is the proof that shows that she didn't sit on a committee that was approving the loans? We don't dwell with speculations here. It's all factual. It's our responsibility to ensure that we protect public funds by providing an oversight on the executive. PS, ensure that these technocrats that are advising you, they guide you properly, not to mislead you. So you can maybe make a comment over what Honorable Mfarari has just stated. PS, proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, my submission of saying Arduino is based on what the auditor raised. I'll give you an example in the same issue that is under discussion. What is being queried is contrary to guidelines mounting to 360,000 kwacha disbursed to 6 groups that had 10 members who were above prescribed age of 35 years by the time of receiving the loans. When we talk about the issue of registration certificate and other things, it's in the main body of what Auditor General is talking about to say this is what is required, blah, blah, blah. But here, what Auditor General is talking about is this aspect of age. So, Chair, that's where our answers is based. We're based on the issues of age. But like I said, it is regrettable because these issues we are dealing with, they are issues of legacy. And it becomes sometimes not that it becomes sometimes it is only fair that we speak to what is available with us.
Thank you. Eji, can you come in?
Good afternoon again. I think I've come back to clarify on the guidelines. There was this guideline, I think, which the PS and I think he has the one which is a bit lighter. But I should say that there was also this, which was given to us from the ministry. And I should say most of the things which are here are similar to what is here. So much that as an office, we decided to quote this one as at a national level. But I should say most of the issues are here.
We should be making reference on the document. Can you name them?
Okay, there is one, I think, on guideline and application form. And then we have the guidelines, application, and agreements form, which I think maybe our colleague from the youth should also have, which I'm going to submit to the committee to look at. Yes. So you find that one goes up to, I think, clause 15 or so, if I'm not mistaken. And then it has also all the forms into it. So maybe that would be that's where we derived those.
Do we have clause 9.1
yes.
and 2 there?
Yes, maybe let me open clause 9.
Yeah, can you, Honorable Farley, proceed?
I think the Chair.
Mike.
Okay, sorry.
Chair, may I request that we allow the witness to leave us briefly for housekeeping matters so that we look at one or two things.
Order. I adjourn business for 5 minutes. PS, I would like to lift the immunity that were ushered upon you, and you are free to leave. We'll call you back after 5 minutes.